across the community. We'll be celebrating history as well in the coming months as Apple Island tours are coming back in Orchard Lake Village this summer through the Greater West Bloomfield Chamber of Commerce. The historic Apple Island, which has been part of our community for a number of years here as part of the West Bloomfield School District, is going to be having tours on Saturday, June 8th and Sunday, June 9th. You can get involved not only by going on the tours, but also by volunteering with the Greater West Bloomfield Historical Society. Joining us now is their Museum and Communications Assistant, Anna Smith, to help us learn more about these opportunities. Anna, thank you for being with us today.
Yeah, glad to be here.
Yeah, glad to have you back on as we get ready for these Apple Island tours, which are really an important part of exploring our history each and every year. We wait until the warmer months of the year so that the conditions are just perfect to go out there and explore this immense piece of history in our community. For those that may not be familiar with Apple Island, which sits out in the middle of Orchard Lake, what is the significance of this location to our local history?
Yeah, absolutely. Apple Island is something of a unique treasure. We call it the Jewel of Orchard Lake. But essentially, it's a 35-acre island out in the middle of Orchard Lake, formed probably around 10,000, 12,000 years ago. And it is rare for an inland body of water as small as Orchard Lake to have an island as big as Apple Island. We know that, it was inhabited by Native Americans. As far back as 2,000 years ago. And then after that, when white settlers came to the area, there was a string of owners who inhabited and lived on the island. They would summer there on occasion, bring their friends and family along. And in addition, Apple Island had a lot of draw outside the area. People would come to see. There were a lot of legends spread about the island. Hotel owners in the area back in the early days of West Bloomfield township settlement would sort of spread these legends and rumors, and this added to the allure of the island. And it really has this sort of mysterious air about it, especially given that it's been uninhabited by people for many decades now. It's been a woodland sanctuary owned by the school district since 1970. So really, Apple Island Tours is sort of the best way for people to be able to experience the island themselves and sort of see what's so alluring about it, what makes it have that draw.
That's a really interesting point, and a key point about Apple Island is that since the 70s, it has been owned and overseen by the West Bloomfield School District as a nature sanctuary. So people don't live on the island. People aren't frequenting the island on a regular basis as they have throughout history, both from white settlers and owners of the property on the island over the past century or so before the school district had taken ownership of Apple Island, but even going back into our indigenous populations that had even used Apple Island as a sort of meeting point between many of the different waterways in our local area. That's what makes this such an interesting place, because there's history on that island. There's bits and pieces of our history that we can see there. And so, what makes it so that people should want to go out to Apple Island and explore that? What's left of there that really makes this an interesting exploration for people in our community?
Yeah, absolutely. There is, first off, a lot of nature on the island now. It's uninhabited, so plants and flora that, that have been able to flourish on the island that sometimes it's hard to see on the mainland. So, you can go see that. As well as that, there actually are a few apple trees on the island now. They were planted back in 2018 by some second graders in the West Bloomfield School District. And I believe that there are a few that are still growing, trying to get strong. So those are a sight to see as well, because as you know, there weren't apple trees on the island for some time before those were planted. So that's a really great sight to see. But as well as that, we do still see evidence of the people, the settlers who lived on the island when they owned it. There are a lot of there's evidence left behind of cottages that used to be on the island. You can see where the foundation would have been. As well as that, you can see old wells that used to be used to, get water on the island. So there really is, you can see traces of the people that were there before. And I think it's something that's very important to see for people in the community to understand what life might have been like, both on the island, but also just, in a time period before where we are now.
Anna Smith is with us from the Greater West Bloomfield Historical Society as they get ready for their Apple Island tours happening on Saturday, June 8th and Sunday, June 9th on Apple Island, all through the Greater West Bloomfield Historical Society. Learn more information on their website at gwbhs.org. And it's been a few years since these have happened. COVID-19 had an impact on, of course, getting people out there in close proximity. Then there were some other issues beyond that. So it's been a few years since we've had these tours. Now that they're coming back, how has the Greater West Bloomfield Historical Society been preparing to not only bring these tours back in general, but to make them more immersive, more interesting as we go into this new era of these tours?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we really have been trying to get a good group of volunteers together. We have our great presenters, Miquan Donjul, Janot Pakour, as well as Mark Hook, who will be on the island sharing stories, things about their culture, as well as sort of updates and sort of a history of archaeology on the island and the various digs that have been done. So that's something I think that it's important to go on the tours because that's something that's so special. You get to see during the tours these fantastic presenters sharing stories and really sort of adding to the unique experience that you get on the island. In addition, we are trying to make registering for a tour easy for our members. So we're doing something new this year for 2024. GWBHS members will actually be able to register and purchase tickets for their tour spot in advance. You can find more information about that through our website. Individual level memberships can purchase one advance ticket, and every other membership level can purchase up to 6 tickets. So that's something that we're really excited about. It's our first time doing it, and we're hoping that our members take advantage of it. You can select the time that you want to depart for your tour. And yeah, we're hoping that this will be a trend that continues into the future.
And so as you're seeking volunteers, a lot of them are going to be members of the Historical Society that are already familiar with Apple Island and will be leading these tours. But other volunteers are also needed to help out in what is a pretty massive effort for the Historical Society doing these each summer. If there are volunteer opportunities available, how can people get involved?
Absolutely. Please contact us at the museum. You can email contact@gwbhs.org, or you can call the museum. It's 248-757-2451. You'll be in touch with me. I'll be coordinating the volunteers for this event. And yes, as you said, for such a popular and sort of large event as this, we do need a large team of volunteers as well. And even if you're not familiar with the island itself, we have plenty of positions available both on the museum grounds, which will be open. The museum will be open. We'll be selling snacks and gift shop items, and there will be lots of activities going on at the museum, including you could wear a historical costume and, stand in front of our doctor's carriage and create a photo op for guests. We have our archaeology activities box. You can manage that and let kids dig around for various items. So really, it's an all hands on deck thing. And if you have never helped out with this event before, now is a great time to get involved as it's coming back for the first time in 5 years.
And as we get ready for these Apple Island tours, there's plenty that happens to help maintain the island outside of these tours throughout the year. We know that the Historical Society and the West Bloomfield School District are consistently in collaboration on Apple Island. Outside of these tours, what are some other ways that the Historical Society collaborates with the school district and with the community to maintain Apple Island and preserve this piece of history in our community throughout the year?
Yeah, absolutely. So the school district and the historical society as well do a great job of maintaining the trails on the island and making it so that it's safe when guests do arrive. We do collaborate with the school district, and we're bringing back the Apple Island visits for second grade classes this year. So that's going on through this month, and I know that they're very excited to get back out on the island. They've got a lot of activities planned, and it's great that the historical society can sort of facilitate that visit for them. And we're very thankful that we're able to have this partnership and make Apple Island available not just to the second graders but also to the public, because it is sort of Apple Island Tours is the one time a year that people really can go out to the island. So we're very thankful to the school district for allowing these tours to happen.
More information can be found on the Apple Island Tours happening on Saturday, June 8th and Sunday, June 9th on gwbhs.org. That's also the place you can go to learn more about getting in contact with the Historical Society for additional volunteer opportunities and more events all throughout the year. Anna, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Tyler.